Throughout human history, religion has been a powerful force, shaping cultures, laws, and our very identities. For countless people, it has offered comfort, meaning, and a moral compass. But there's another side to this story. When religious ideology fuses with political power or an absolute, unchallengeable worldview, it has often fueled conflict, division, and immense suffering. In our modern world, we've seen the devastating impact of violent extremism that claims religious justification, from terrorist attacks and sectarian wars to ideological violence. The consequences have rippled across the Middle East, Europe, Africa, and North America. These acts don't just cause physical harm, they sow fear, create deep social tensions, and destabilize entire nations. Societies find themselves in a difficult balancing act, trying to protect their citizens while upholding civil liberties and embracing pluralism. The use of religion as a tool for power is not new, nor is it exclusive to any single faith. History is filled with examples. Europe was torn apart for centuries by religious wars between different Christian groups, leading to staggering numbers of civilian deaths. Conflicts in the Middle East today are a complex tangle of religious identity, nationalism, colonial legacies, and competing global interests. We've also seen intense violence within the same faith, a phenomenon known as interreligious conflict, which has occurred in many different belief systems, and for centuries. Jewish communities have endured brutal persecution driven by a toxic mix of religious and ideological intolerance. These examples reveal a repeating pattern. Conflict ignites when a belief system is elevated from a personal conviction to an unquestionable political authority that demands total obedience. This is why it's absolutely crucial to distinguish between peaceful religious practice and violent extremist interpretations. Extremist movements hijack religion. They rely on highly selective, rigid, and often distorted readings of sacred texts to justify violence, hatred, and control. It's important to remember that these extremist views are almost always fiercely debated and rejected by the vast majority of scholars and believers within those same traditions. The mainstream is not the fringe. So, what fuels extremism? Research consistently points to a set of underlying conditions. It thrives in environments plagued by political instability, social exclusion, a lack of quality education, and economic desperation. When people feel they have no voice, no future, and no stake in society, they become vulnerable to radical ideologies that offer simplistic answers and a sense of belonging, however destructive. Addressing these root causes, poverty, injustice, and lack of opportunity, is therefore one of the most effective ways to counter radicalization. This brings us to the role of secular governance. Historically, the most stable, prosperous, and peaceful democratic societies have been those that operate under a secular system. This doesn't mean the government is anti-religion. Far from it. Secular governance creates a neutral public square. It ensures that laws apply equally to every single citizen, regardless of their faith. It means that no single religious doctrine can dictate public policy for everyone. It protects freedom of religion, which also includes the fundamental freedom to believe. And critically, it ensures that violence, incitement, and hatred are dealt with through the impartial rule of law, not through religious edicts. Secularism isn't about erasing religion from public life. It is about ensuring that no one belief system can be used to oppress others or override universal human rights and democratic principles. In our interconnected world, issues like immigration and asylum add another layer of complexity. These are not simple challenges, and they require thoughtful, lawful, and humane solutions. Effective policy must strike a careful balance. It needs to protect national security and public safety, but it must also uphold human rights and our obligations under international law. It should focus on successful integration, education, and promoting civic participation. At the same time, it requires robust enforcement of laws against violence and hate-based crimes, no matter who commits them. The evidence is clear. Inclusive integration strategies, combined with firm and fair law enforcement, are far more effective at maintaining social harmony than policies of exclusion, collective suspicion, or building walls between communities. If we look back at the origins of belief itself, anthropologists and historians have some fascinating insights. They suggest that early religious systems likely emerged as our ancestors tried to make sense of a terrifying and unpredictable world. They sought explanations for natural disasters, disease, suffering, and the ultimate mystery of death. Religion provided answers and a sense of control. As our scientific understanding of the universe expanded, many societies began to rely more on evidence-based explanations for these phenomena. This transition from myth to science highlights the profound importance of education, critical thinking, and empathy. The more we understand the world through reason and evidence, the less we are controlled by fear-driven, absolutist worldviews. So, how do we move toward a more peaceful future? Human progress has always been tied to the expansion of knowledge, the courage of scientific inquiry, and a growing respect for individual rights and dignity. Reducing violence linked to religious extremism doesn't mean we need to eliminate religion. It means we must be vigilant in preventing any ideology, whether it is religious or secular, from being weaponized to justify harm, domination, or the suppression of others. A more peaceful, stable world depends on a few key pillars. We need to champion secular, rights-based governance where the state serves all its citizens equally. We must demand the equal and impartial application of the law for everyone. We have to invest in education that does more than just teach facts. It must cultivate critical inquiry, curiosity, and the ability to question authority. And finally, we need a universal, unwavering rejection of violence and extremism as legitimate tools for achieving political or social goals. By learning the hard lessons of history and actively strengthening our democratic institutions, we can build societies that are resilient to ideological conflict. We can create communities where people of all different beliefs and of no belief at all can not only coexist but truly thrive together in peace. Thanks for watching. If you found this discussion valuable, please consider subscribing for more content.